everyone, I'm Katie and this is a Fountain Pen Awakening. I hope that wherever you are in the world you're doing super good. I'm fantastic. I thought I'd take this opportunity this evening to maybe answer some 8 pen questions 2024. And yeah, so last year I did this VR, which is a tag that was started from Simone and Leanne Likes having a chat about their fountain pen journey, and then it turned into a tag that everyone participated in. So this is the 2024 update, and I thought that I would hop on and answer these 8 questions once again to see what has changed in my fountain pen journey thus far. So let's get to it. Alright, so I'm going to be reading from my little thing over here. So the first question is, when and how did your fountain pen journey begin? Well, my fountain pen journey began 2 years ago, well, nearly 2 years ago, in August 22, and it just kind of like from 0 to 100 like that. I watched a video from a friend of mine that, well, I consider him a friend, someone who I follow on YouTube. He was showing his fountain pen collection. Hi Simon, it's all your fault. If you're watching, I love you. And it was him showing his collection of fountain pens one day randomly as his hobby, and my mind was blown. So I had to have a fountain pen. I had to try it out, and so I immediately ordered myself, Lamy, and then I saw Simon buying himself a Bennu, so I had to buy myself a Bennu. So it was all very enthusiastic and very amateurish and very exciting, and it sort of then made me start my own fountain pen channel, a Fountain Pen Awakening, and my name of my channel is a Fountain Pen Awakening, for the simple fact that it was an awakening to fountain pens. So I wanted to share my journey with this newfound love of fountain pens with fellow fountain pen lovers, because around me, my family, my friends, the people I knew had no idea what a fountain pen was, or why was I even interested in a fountain pen. So I couldn't really share that passion with them. So the idea of finding a fountain pen community online and sharing the journey and the excitement and geeking out on pens and inks and stationery and all that sort of stuff was the incentive of starting my channel. And yeah, and here we are. So it's been an interesting maybe 18 months. Is it 18 months? Something like that. And a lot of things have changed, but a lot of things have stayed the same. And still love it, still very enthusiastic. I love using my pens. I just love just sitting there and just writing with them. I don't have to write anything in particular. I just like sit there and write the alphabet and rotate my pens and play with my pen and inks and try and make rainbows with my ink colours and stuff like that. I know. You have to be a fountain pen enthusiast to understand what it means to get inky fingers every time you change ink in your pen and not get grossed out by it, Yeah, as I said, so far so good. The only thing that sort of changed for me is this year I decided to sort of go on a no pen buy, in the sense that I want to be very mindful of how I purchase my pens and how I spend my money now, as opposed to just wanting to buy every single Lamy special edition coming out, or whatever it is. Very easy to get caught up in all of that hype that you want every single color, and you just got to hold back sometimes, because it's not necessary really to have every single color, unless you specifically love that pen and that's your pen collection and you just want every pen in that color. Great. But when you're a fountain pen enthusiast, you just want to kind of try every single pen. So they're not cheap, and when you want to sort of branch out and buy other fountain pens, you sort of got to think strategically, so to speak. So that brings us on to the second question, which is, what were your fave inks at the beginning? Now, obviously, because at the beginning I had no bloody clue what was going on. You know, like, what did I know? So, you know, I did sort of buy a few ink samples here and there, and then, you know, I was someone who wanted to be matchy-matchy, so I wanted to get the perfect ink color to go with the perfect pen color. So that kind of like instructed my ink choices, and then, you know, I like pretty blingy colors, so I like the shimmer inks. But I found that, you know, with shimmer inks, they're not made all equal, and some of them clog up your feed and you just can't write with your pens. It just depends on also the nib sizes and all this stuff that I wasn't aware of. And obviously at the beginning you have no clue about difference between inks, the viscosity, you know, the density, the writing experience, the watery ones, the less watery ones, um, what what's a shader, what's not a shader, what's a shimmer, what's not a you know, and all that sort of stuff. So long story short, I really had no clue what was going on. The only thing that I was really glad about was the fact that I didn't go cray and buy heaps of bottled inks. I did buy a lot of samples just to get an idea of what I wanted and what I didn't like, so that was good. I mean, I ended up buying a few bottles at the beginning, but, you know, I got burnt with a few colours because I thought, oh yeah, they're great colours, and then they're colours that I really don't end up using a lot. So I'm grateful for that. But what I discovered very early in my journey was that I like inks that shade, and I like inks that have a good viscosity in them. And I find that Lamy inks have that viscosity and that lubrication and that writing experience. I also kind of enjoy Van Diemen's inks. Diamine are pretty good. My favorite ink at the beginning that I discovered was Van Diemen's Leatherwood Honey, which is to this date one of my favorite inks. And another one is Troublemaker Butterfly Dream. So those are two inks that I discovered at the start of my journey and are still fast favorites to this day. Question number 3. How have your ink likes changed over time? Well, I've discovered what I do like and what I don't like in ink. What I don't like is the wishy-washy watery inks and the ones that don't write well because they have a very watery feeling, so that causes them to write a bit blobby or feathery on the page and don't keep a crisp line. I like a crisp line in my writing. That's why I kind of also favour, you know, cursive italic nibs. That was kind of my favorite at the start of my journey. I would sort of go for the 1.1 nibs, especially with Alamis. But I discovered also when you buy other brands of pens, their stub nibs are not necessarily a cursive nib. So what my favorite kind of nib at the beginning was a cursive medium nib, which I could get with the Pilot Metropolitan and the Pilot Preras. I really loved the line and the shape that they gave my writing, so that kind of instructed how I wanted my line work to look with my pens, and some inks would help with the crispness of the lines and other inks would not. So I've discovered that some ink brands are really good writers and other ink brands are not. So my favorite ink brands at the moment will be Lamy, because they have a great viscosity and I have a great writing experience with them. I still like my Van Diemen inks. I still really enjoy some of Robert Oster's inks. Diamine for sure is a great brand. But I also have discovered Kyo Iro inks and Kyo no Oda inks, and I really love the way those inks write. They're from Tag Stationery in Kyoto, and they are maybe a collaboration, I'm not sure, between Tag Stationery and ink meisters, you know, who practice the ancient tradition of ink making in Japan. So I've really enjoyed those. Colorverse is also good, which is, I think, a South Korean brand. Troublemaker isn't bad. Don't like Wearingeul so much. I find their inks very watery. Same, unfortunately, with First World Press. I find their inks a little bit watery. They have great colours. The shimmer inks are pretty good. it just depends. It just depends what you look for in your writing experience. For me, I want an ink that shades really well, that holds its line, that is easy to write with, that has good flow and viscosity. So at the moment, I've discovered a new brand of inks called Pen BBS. I just made a video recently about my new haul of these inks that I kind of bought to try them out. And so far so good. I have inked some of them up in pens, and I'm really enjoying the way they write. All right, question number 4. Are there inks and pens that you have yet to try but would like to? Of course, of course. When we talk about fountain pens, there's so many I have yet to try that I want to try. And one of them would be the Esterbrook Esty. I still have to buy an Esterbrook Esty. It's all the rage at the moment in the fountain pen community. Everyone's raving on about the Esterbrook Esty and how wonderful it is. So I really want to get one. I'm just waiting for some sort of sale to happen because they're a bit expensive in Australian slang, expensive. Another pen obviously is the Pelikan Sovereign, or Sovereign, however you want to pronounce it. I would really like to try a Pelikan. I'm not prepared to pay that kind of money for a pen though at the moment, so I would like to try it first before investing in buying one. I know everyone raves on about how wonderful they are, but I want to get like a 600 or an 800. I don't want to get a 200. So I just really want to try one out before paying that kind of money. Another one, of course, is the Leonardo. Now, in the States, everyone raves on about Leonardos. You know, you can get these pens at great prices. In Australia, no one sells Leonardos. Well, I haven't found any of the resellers that I use or the retailers that I use have Leonardo pens here. And if I want to buy a Leonardo, I have to buy it from the website, you know, in Italy, and they're very expensive, $75 in shipping. Same from the States. If I want to buy a pen from the States, from anyone over there, it's 75 Australian dollars shipping, and that's a lot of money. You know, to buy a pen, if you can find a pen at a good price, then you have to pay $75 shipping wars, which is really no point, at least for me anyway. And another one that I really, really, really want to try is a Kilk. It's a Turkish fountain pen brand, and they do this beautiful silver work that they put on their hardware. My pen last year, which was my grail pen, was the Visconti. It was the Homo sapiens Tuscan Hills. So I do really want to try one of those as well. And I'm pretty sure that there's so many out there that I do want to try that, you know, obviously are very expensive pens. And, you know, I would have to go to a pen show to be able to put my hands on these pens. And unfortunately, we don't have pen shows of that pedigree here in Australia. I was going to go to the Melbourne one, but I discovered that at the Melbourne one there's not really much going on, so I didn't end up going to the pen show in Melbourne this year. Last year in November, because I went the week after because it was my cousin's birthday. All right, question number 5. What is your holy grail pen? Well, it has changed, my friends. It has changed. I have decided that I want one from, and sorry if I butchered the name, but they're called Dunam Pazan. And I saw them on Instagram, and what they do is they pour their own resins and they put dried flowers in them, and then, you know, they make the pens, and they use bock nibs, I think, and you can get like coloured ones and stuff, and they're beautiful pens. So I'd really like to buy one of their pens. They show you basically what they've poured and what flowers they've used, and I think then you can sort of make a custom order with them to, sorry if the light keeps on changing, I don't know what's going on with that. And you can order from them. They've got a website that you can go on to. I will link them down below in the comment section if you want to check them out. But I saw them on Instagram, and they've got some beautiful pens. Also, I've seen pens by Casey. He does beautiful wood-turned pens. Also, just turnings. Again, these guys are both Australian. The only thing is that they don't put hardware on their pens. And I'm someone who loves hardware, so I struggle a bit about these, you know, homemade pens that they make themselves, but they don't have hardware on them, and so, yeah, there's that. But yeah, so Andrew New Pazan, I think that's how you pronounce it. But I'd love to get one of their pens with their little florals in the resin. That'd be super nice. Alright, so how many pens do you currently own? Not very many. I only have 34 pens in my collection. So that's pretty good, isn't it? I've been pretty good with my pens. I've tried to sort of be very mindful of what I do buy and what I don't buy. You know, like at the end of the day, there's certain pens that I really enjoy, and there's other pens that I enjoy less. I've discovered that some pen brands I'm enthusiastic about, so I might have a little bit more of them. Whereas in other brands, you know, being maybe more expensive pens, I can't afford to have like a whole lot of them. So I might just have one, you know, just to have them and try them out. So 34 is a pretty good going. And out of those 34, there's maybe 4 or 5 pens I don't use at all. They're just sitting uninked, but I don't want to get rid of them at all because I want them in my collection, and I bought them, and I just want them to be in my collection because why not? It's part of my fountain pen journey, right? All right, number 7. Do you have a limit on pens or inks in your collection? I don't have a limit per se. I just sort of are very mindful of the pens that I do purchase for the simple fact that I want to buy pens that are a little bit special. I don't want to like have every single color of every single Lamy All Star or Safari. I'm not interested in kind of doing that or getting every, you know, single special edition Kaveco or, you know, things like that. I'm more someone who, if I see a pen that I really kind of am drawn to and I think it's amazing and fantastic and want to have it, then I'll buy it. I can have 34 pens, I can have 54 pens. It's just a matter of wanting to buy something that will add to my collection and that I will enjoy. You know, at the start of my fountain pen journey, I didn't quite know what I wanted and what I didn't want, so I wanted to buy different ones and try different ones, from the cheaper ones to maybe a little bit more expensive ones. There are a lot of more expensive ones that I've yet to sort of try out. But I've come to the decision that I will not spend more than 400 Australian dollars on a pen. So that's where I've set my bar. And anything that's $400 or more, then unfortunately that won't be part of my collection until either I become a billionaire or they go on sale, or someone wants to gift them to me, or they come to me in some sort of way. So that's kind of my limit, in the sense I've put a price limit on my pens, not so much how many I want in my collection. And with inks, it's the same thing, you know, like there's so many inks out there that one wants to try. So I believe that I'm more someone who will buy like ink samples to try out, and then if I really fall in love with an ink, then maybe I will buy a bottle. Obviously I don't want thousands of bottles because it takes forever and a day to get through a bottle of ink, and you know, I get bored easily because I like to change up my inks and try different inks and get all excited about different inks. And what I've discovered is I keep going for the same colours though in the different ink brands. So like I kind of am on a mission to find the perfect pink and the perfect, you know, this colour and the perfect sage green or the perfect whatever, you know what I mean? So when I find that perfect colour, then I might then buy a bottle of it. But yeah, I really don't have limits on the amounts. I have limits on how much I'm willing to spend on pens and inks. Let's put it that way. Consequently, what would you do if another pen or ink came along? Well, if I liked it and I really loved it and I really wanted it, I would buy it. I have no qualms about that whatsoever. And I mean, that's the whole thing about the journey. You know, it's not just about using a fountain pen to write with. I am someone who is a fountain pen collector. I'm a fountain pen aficionado. I enjoy having a collection of pens. Even if I don't use them, it doesn't matter. But obviously I do want to use my pen, so now I'm more aware of what I like aesthetically and what feels good in my hand and what I appreciate more in a pen. So I would focus on buying those types of pens as opposed to other pens, if that makes sense. I mean, the whole idea of when I started my journey, I was kind of more interested in better penmanship, you know, improving my handwriting. And now I've improved my cursive script. I was also sort of thinking of taking it a step further into calligraphy, but that's a whole different ball game. It's not kind of the same thing as just, you know, using your pens and writing in cursive kind of thing. But, you know, that's just the interest. You know, it's the good thing about it that it branches out. There's so many different things that you can do with your fountain pens, from artwork to, you know, calligraphy. So, you know, from using different inks, using different nib sizes and grinds, and, you know, there's so much out there. There's so much that you can do with fountain pens. It's just really up to yourself. And I guess that my exploration of fountain pens has just brought me so much pleasure and so much joy. And I enjoy just sitting here and just, I don't have to write anything particular. I can just write the alphabet. But what I do is I use all my different pens that are all inked up. I might have 20 inked up at the same time. And I just like use them with my different inks and then try and do rainbow and match the colors, and, you know, and that's how I use them. I don't have to do anything special. It's just something that relaxes me. I come home, I sit down, I play with my pens, I ink them up, I clean them out, I get inky fingers, and I'm super excited. And yeah, and I'm so grateful for the fountain pen community and that shares this passion with me, and I know that I'm not alone. Thank you so much again for putting this back out, Simone and Leanne. I wish the fountain pen community would do more tags like this. I'm part of another community and we do tags all the time. There's all sorts of tags that we do. I wish the fountain pen community would come up with more tags, more fun tags to do, instead of just, oh, currently inked or this, you know. I wish people would just do, you know what I mean? Because then we could all participate a little bit more. If you don't have the means to buy pens all the time or buy inks all the time, or whatever the case may be, where you can showcase, oh, new pen day or pink or new this, new that. Someone does a tag like my favorite inks for February, then everyone would be able to do it, you know, without having to like spend money to do it because they have those inks that they're using in February kind of thing. But anyway, that's just my 5 cents worth. I think it'd be a lot more fun if there were a lot more tags going on in the fountain pen community, and then a lot more people could participate, and instead of, you know, as having to spend heaps of money on pens and inks every time to showcase something new. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for liking, and sharing this journey with me. And again, have a great one. Ciao, Andy.